At the 7 Floors of Hell in Berea, Ohio. There is $2 for parking, so you know. With that, so I haven't been here yet this year. I heard they amp stuff up pretty well. Now I don't know. There was someone who we, when it was the little group and I, sort of became fans of, who was one of the just sort of actors in between the houses here, and. The first time we saw him, he was in this mummy costume. Didn't say anything. The way just he moved his body, the atmosphere he was trying to create, we were just like, man, you are so freaking cool. And he went with us through one of the houses, and we were just, okay, yeah, we're just a fan of yours now. He was super cool. Great atmosphere building, knew how to kind of really get into kind of people's sort of head with it a little bit, and never said a word. So the next year, I did different costumes. It looked like his eyes and mouth were sewn shut. We're like, dude, you were the mummy last year. We could just tell by his energy. And he was like, and we're like, yes, you're awesome. So we kind of became fans of his. And then later on, because the 7 Floors of Hell here is the same people who run the Forest of Screams in Medina. And we've seen him out there as well. And he's got a bunch of different characters and stuff that he does in both places. And so it's... you know, he goes by Mr. Ink, and if you can follow him on like Instagram or any of this other stuff, do so. A lot of cool stuff with that. So I don't know if he'll be here tonight or he's at Forest or, you know, where, if I'll run into him this year. But I mean, they kind of promote cool stuff like that. So this is, like I said, 7 Floors of Hell. It's in Berea. A lot of times they used to have a couple things that were like real movie based. They had one that was almost sort of like a whole haunted house of mostly movie stuff, which was cool. And they used to have one that was like licensed strictly, and they did like a whole Saw house. And that was pretty cool. And they usually have like a zombie one that actually used to, yeah, I had to kind of zen myself out pretty well going in there. And that's kind of helped me with my little phobia as well. So this is kind of a little mix. It's usually a little like kind of, some stuff's really cool and some stuff's, you know, the screaming, growly, hillbilly stuff. I had heard from people who have gone to this before me this year that they really amped their stuff up. I might have already said that, maybe. So we will see, and I'm looking forward to this. I'm on a kind of an off night. So let's see how it goes here, 7 Floors of Hell. All right, so already I'm kind of noticing, you can't really see the big old sign behind me here, but already I'm noticing, I don't know if you can see it, that big structure kind of back behind me, already is showing kind of amping up some of the thing. Of course, they have the same Midnight Syndicate album that like apparently everybody else has, and they're blasting the one song that everyone else blasts too. So yeah, there's some merch behind me there, so you know they got that going on. But so yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this already. I'm looking some of the structures I built up. The thing is, they have to strike this every year. There's not permanent stuff here. Forest of Screams has permanent stuff. This isn't permanent, so the fact, I mean, it looks like they're kind of amping up even what they're building here year to year, which is pretty cool. The first one, Catacombs. This is, hi. I'm not a thing, it's just me. So, as I wear all black, and I have a fairly Nosferatu-ish visage and anything anyway, and I guess I sort of walk in a creepy way. So I caught up with the screaming group ahead of me, and I think I just scared them by my very presence, which is kind of fairly normal. So there was a lot of this background in there, and it was pretty cool. They had like these like fake kind of lanterns and stuff like that. A lot of kind of screaming in your ear. A huge blackout section, a very entirely too blackout section. Sorry. But when you could kind of see, and it had like the flickering fake lantern stuff, it was actually really cool. Like, I dug the atmosphere. You probably didn't even really need to have any actors in it, just a little bit more light in the section. And there's a guy
Oh my God, look at this man here. Oh, how you do? Nice to see you. Hey, this man needs shot. Have you had shots tonight?
Not tonight, no.
Now you do.
Yep, got shot.
You're protected now from crazies in back.
Oh, I appreciate that. I need to be protected from crazies at work.
And you need shots? You come out and see Dr. Koloff.
There you go. That's hands down the best doctor here. So, yeah, I totally lost my train of thought. So there's a lot of this, like I said, sort of background, and even just the flickering lanterns in this. And they took off the little the half body sort of pillowy hallway. Actually, just would have been cool with that. Just some creepy music, and that would have been neat. I like the atmosphere of it. But yeah, not bad. See, the thing is with this, too, I forgot to say this earlier. With 7 Floors of Hell, there's a couple ways to hit all 7. Now you can kind of do this in a few ways. One, you can go clockwise around. You can go counterclockwise around. You can kind of go willy-nilly, but that's insane. Or you could gauge your anticipation level. It took me a while to figure out how to say this. Is which one you like more versus less. We might not know and they change stuff, but which one are you anticipating going to more versus where you're going to less? You might start with the ones you're anticipating less and grow and go with ones you're doing more, or vice versa. Vice versa also seems a little not right. You want to kind of build up the drama. So the ones that you want to see the most, save for later. The only other sort of way that sort of willy-nilly I think is acceptable would be just sort of gauging the lines. If there's a huge line at one that you want to see, but there's other ones you can kind of gauge how you go by the line, which still has a logic to it, so that's cool. But I don't understand sort of willy-nilly, just I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here. That makes no sense to me. So I think tonight I'm just kind of go clockwise. That's my plan for right now. So yeah, clockwise. Okay, so, the basement. Pretty cool, actually. You kind of got to go up. And then it's almost like a creepy house, and I think the story is, like the grandpa, whoever ran it, or whose house it was, like went crazy and kept everyone in the basement and all this. But you kind of got to go up, and then you go down the stairs into, it actually looks like this really long, messed up basement with all this stuff like stored in there, and like bikes and clothes hanging out, and then you see like, bodies like half in the wall or something like that. It's a, quote, flashlight experience, but they give you a glow stick. I'm not going to repeat my feelings on that. Pro tip, though, with the glow stick, I find, especially, again, with glasses and being very pale and the reflection back and forth with the glasses, I held it over my head. That seemed to work because you hold it here and you can't see, and you hold it down here and you kind of can't see. Over my head, cast enough glow everywhere. It kind of helped me with that. Again, some screamy people, and then a guy or possibly lady, on the slidey knee pad thing, which was kind of neat. He, she, it, or they worked that very well. Just kind of, you were there, you knew they were there, you knew they were there, and then bam, came out of the shadows. Like, that was actually kind of cool. Animatronic monster-y thing there at the end. But it was neat. You kind of go up, it plays with the levels a little bit, and it actually looks, it kind of builds the drama, because it does kind of look like just a normal kind of rundown creepy basement, and then it kind of gets worse as the time went on. So it did a pretty good job building the sort of drama of it. So that's the basement one. On to the mental ward. Oh, this ought to be fun. I have a 20-second blurb of this like 2 years ago or something like that. But I was in there one time, and I think I came here on a Friday. So I worked that day, and I had some dude he was try-harding really hard to be crazy, and I laughed. And I know sometimes I laugh at inappropriate times anyway, but I laughed at this, and I think he got really mad. And I'm like, listen, dude, I was in a restraint with an 8-year-old that day. So I said, today, who's way worse than what you're pretending to be, and this was real. So mental ward stuff is always sort of like, okay, yeah, No, this doesn't bother me at all. I deal with this stuff for a living. So here we go, mental ward. Okay, so mental ward just got done. It's pretty short. One thing I thought was actually really funny, they had a TV going like in the first sort of room, and it's playing SpongeBob, which is actually pretty funny, because that would actually happen. And I know that because when I worked residential, I had to watch a lot of bloody SpongeBob. My only real problem, I mean, again, screamy stuff, was this, it was really short. It just kind of seemed shorter. Maybe, I don't know, just seemed shorter than last time. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of what you would expect. There's a lot of sort of gross statues, and kind of actually had a little bit of a process. You know, you had like the check-in thing, and then like a common room, and you know, a dining thing. So it actually kind of had, a lot of it kind of made a little bit of a logical sense. You know, and a lot of sort of sensory assault, a lot of strobe lights and loud stuff and some loud music and everything. A couple of people trying to do other characters other than Screamy. Which, okay, you know, good effort on there for that. It was all right. It was kind of fun. But again, I mean, I'm a little soured from actually having worked in residential treatment and work in day treatment now. So I'm a little sort of about that. But it was all right. Okay, so Boogeyman, I don't know if you can kind of see it a little bit behind me. I honestly had sort of doubts about this one, given the wood paneling on the outside and sort of Boogeyman thing with that. But you know what? It was really clever. It might have helped that I might have been a little too close to the people in front of me. I caught up to them. So maybe the jumpy jump people didn't really get me because I was too close. But now, if they did this on purpose, it's really cleverly done. If they did this on purpose, which I think they had done. But you kind of go in, there's like, you know, it looks like kind of a house that you walk into, and there's a lot of wood paneling, you know, sort of like a, you know, maybe a hillbilly-ish kind of house, a lot of wood paneling, and like this sort of hip height fencing. And you go through that, and then it looks like you kind of go through this house, and you kind of do that three or four times. And you kind of come from a different angle at one point in time too, or a couple different angles. So what it looks like is you're going through this same house again and again, but in slightly different ways. And there are these mannequins set up, and you're not sure if some of them look like they might be people that are just waiting, and I hope they are, because that was cool too, because it kind of gives that, oh, this is a person feeling. It's called Boogeyman because it's this, you know, this black robed figure with this sort of plain, almost featureless face. Is, you know, what's seemingly random. So it's right in the beginning of the house and a couple of them, but not there in another one. And in some corners here, and in some corners there, and against this other wall. So there's a few of them throughout the whole thing. So it looks like you're going through the same thing again and again, but this Boogeyman is in different places. And I like to think they did that on purpose, and it was actually really cleverly done. I was really pleasantly surprised by Boogeyman here. Just another one that just seemed too short. Okay, so butcher shop, about what you'd expect. They did a pretty good job making some parts of it fairly disorienting, actually. The different strobe effects, and you know, because you know, they're gonna have you know, pigs or chickens or human body parts or human mannequins or whatever, kind of hanging up and strung up and doing the sort of thing. And with the strobe effect and the sort of the clear plastic strips for the doorways and everything like that, it muffled kind of your vision and became kind of disorienting in a few places, which was neat. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be really my sort of cup of tea anyway, especially since we already had a couple houses that did a neat job with setting up a good atmosphere as a sort of a house sort of thing. So butcher shop, not really my cup of tea. Good job of making things disorienting. And odd clown section. I'm not 100% sure why there's random cloud stuff in that, but I guess it works for some people. So yeah, I'm off to Phobia right now. The lady, I don't remember this from last year. But I'm actually kind of looking forward to it, regardless of whether it was here last year or not. And so yeah, and then House of the Dead, so I'm almost done. Actually had some people ask for my YouTube channel. They saw me talking at you. Do that, so hey, cool, more subscribers. It's kind of neat. A bunch of different stuff, as one might expect. Yeah, I mean, and there was, I think some of the characters would have pulled off better if it wasn't screaming at you. Like they had, a couple of them had some decent shtick, but it was screamed at you. And if it would have found some other way to do that, I think it would have been more effective and would have been kind of cooler. But overall, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was kind of neat. A lot of different stuff. The spider room was pretty creepy. You know, big snaky thing. And yeah, I mean, as you'd expect, Phobia, there's a lot of stuff going in there. You know, medical stuff and yeah, creature-y type things. I just think it would have been served better if the characters would have done more charactering instead of screaming. And to warn you, there is one of the big full body air pillow mattressy things that I hate. And it's my new coat too. My new little jacket, my new coat. Can't really see it. But we all know I love coats and jackety things. Got my scarf, as always. So, you know, almost 40 years of watching Doctor Who does have an effect on you after, you know, way less than 40 years. So yeah, last one, House of the Dead. I dig the name, I dig the outside. Let's see how it goes. So House of the Dead was kind of neat. Yeah, I mean, again, a theme with the actual house. Head's a little cold. So a theme with the actual house, which I'm cool with. One thing you do kind of have to remember, like I said before, I think I said before, is that I can't see crap. I think I said before, this is something that they have to strike and put back up every year. So it's not permanent stuff. So there is there's a tiny bit, I was thinking about this as going through, there's a tiny bit of suspension of disbelief, more than some other places. You know, Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory, you're in old schools. You know, the Forest of Screams, they built permanent sets for that. Their haunted house part of it is a permanent thing that they can do other stuff with. So Factory of Terror, again, permanent stuff with that. This they have to take down and set up every year. So there is a little bit of a suspension of disbelief, as in terms of the sets. But House of the Dead, I almost forgot what it was for a second. House of the Dead, so it was kind of neat, a little over the top, a little cheesy with some stuff. A lot of taxidermy heads. I just generally, for me, tend not to like the taxidermy heads because animals, and I like animals a lot, so it just sort of kind of bothers me. But again, a similar thing to some of these other ones. The characters that people were trying to do might have had a decent shtick if it wasn't just all like this and screaming at you the whole time. Like, okay, literally everyone in this place was doing that exact same thing. Possible good character screaming at you and screeching at you the whole time. That is just, okay, just, I don't know how to coordinate that. If people go through and watch everyone else's thing, or they have team meetings for whatever house people are in or something like that. But you need to shake it up. You know, one person high-pitched screaming at you with a character is one thing. Everyone doing that is something else. But overall, pretty neat. So I'm going to go, 3.5, 4 skulls. My buddy was correct. They did sort of, move up on some things with this. Did a pretty good job with some things, which was neat. I enjoy that. So a lot of that. But generally, I think the people who work here seem to have a good time with stuff. The ticket people all night have been real chatty, which is, I guess, it's all right. I guess for me, I'm intermittently chatty, so whatever works for that. But overall, taking everything into account with it, it's Spooky Dark. Yeah, probably 3.5 to 4 skulls out of 5. I had fun. It's just nice if we can shake it up with the actors a little bit. The scenes in a lot of these things are pretty neat, especially for, being temporary. They did a pretty good job in a lot of the places. There's that one Midnight Syndicate song again. They did a good job in a lot of the places of building an atmosphere. Didn't rely on blackout stuff too much, which is, as you probably know by now, always a good thing as far as I'm concerned. And, and had different things going on, which is kind of cool. And again, the Boogeyman thing did a good job with kind of playing on a lot of things and doing different stuff with your perception and having that one thing seemingly follow you through the whole thing without it. The Basement did a good job with sort of building the drama of it. So overall, yeah, pretty cool, especially for being temporary setups and having only X amount of time to set it up and X amount of time to strike it, and things like that. Also an off night, I understand. Maybe that changes things for people a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. But so 7 Floors of Hell in Berea, about 3.5 to 4 skulls out of 5. Cool sets, cool atmosphere. I just need the actors to vary their performances a little bit. Yeah, that's sort of like just too many sort of jump scares screaming at you, that. So, they're kind of halfway there. They do a pretty good job with having people have different shticks. Just do something besides scream at me the whole time. So good night. So that is basically that for 7 Floors of Hell in Berea. And this is John. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share, and all that good stuff. Thank you, and good night.